Yo, I'm Bob. Totally blind since birth into Star Wars, talking about Season 3, Episode 6 of The Mandalorian on Disney+. Plus. Spoilers ahead, watch it before listening to my thoughts. Jumping right in, you were warned. So this is the 22nd chapter of the show overall. It's called Guns for Hire. I like the title of the episode. That's exactly what we see throughout the episode. Several guns for hire. So, two guns for hire we've met in Season 2. Axe Woves and Casca Reeves, they're making a comeback in this episode, and they are hired to whisk the son of a Mon Calamari viceroy back to Mon Cala. And I like that the son of the viceroy is played by Tom Holland's younger brother, Harry Holland. Didn't immediately know that. I came across it on Twitter after I got done watching the episode last week. So this isn't the first time we've seen a Mon Calamari and a Quarren in love. If you've read the Expanded Universe comics, the Rogue Squadron comics, we got to meet a female Mon Calamari pilot. Her name's Ibtissim or Ibtissim, however you want to pronounce it. It's a Star Wars name. You pick. And Naren Vakale, and he's a Quarren male, so they were in love in those comics. So we get to see that a little bit as the scene plays out. And I like how the Quarren captain's tank sinks into the floor there before she communicates with Axe and Casca there. There's a really cool bit of Star Wars tech. I wonder if Admiral Akbar had one of those aboard Home 1. So we get to go to Plaisir 15. That's a new location. And I think that's one of my favorite parts of Star Wars, being in animation, live action, the novels, audio comic adaptations, getting to explore new planets whenever we get new Star Wars content. And the people on Plaisir 15, well, they have an interesting way of life. They don't have to work at all. They get to delve into the arts every day. They get to participate in their democracy. They have all the droids doing the work for them, which is a weakness as well, because if these droids were to revolt, they wouldn't know what to do. I like that the amnesty program is mentioned yet again. We have a former Imperial named Bombardier, and he's in charge along with a Duchess. They're madly in love. They're husband and wife, so we have another couple who love each other very much. Now, when these two characters came on screen, the audio description track, well, they don't narrate who the characters are played by until you get to the credits. So I wasn't distracted by the cameos. My mind wasn't babbling at me, oh, that's Jack Black and that's Lizzo. I got to explore the story, really delve into what they were talking about, and really wasn't surprised until the credits. I wasn't distracted either. So we have Bo-Katan, Din Djarin, and Grogu. Bo and Din, they're having to do a little favor for the Duchess and her dear husband. They've got to solve a malfunctioning droid problem. And we get a lot of sleuthing in this episode. It really reminded me of Obi-Wan Kenobi doing that in Attack of the Clones. So they've got to go meet the commissioner named Hellgate, who's played by Christopher Lloyd. I love seeing Christopher Lloyd in Star Wars. Now, I thought he was going to be playing an insane Jedi clone named Jorah Sabaoth, or Jorah Sabaoth, however you want to pronounce his name. But he is a very sneaky commissioner here. And they have to go several places before they find out who done it. They have to meet with the Ugnaughts to get a list of the locations in which the droids were malfunctioning. And I like seeing the Ugnaughts again. Queel was one of my favorite characters in Season 1, so cool seeing these little guys back in The Mandalorian in this episode. We get that scene where Din is having to deal with his animosity toward battle droids again as he's kicking the B2 super battle droids around there before one of them backhands. And we get that chase scene there. They have to go to that droid bar. And I like how the droids are just there to help. They feel in their own way, if a droid can feel, these things in Star Wars, and I tend to think that they probably can. They feel compassion for their creators. They don't like the fact that droids are hurting organics, and they want the problem solved. So it's a really cool scene there in the droid bar. We get to hear about a new droid libation called Nepenthe. Well, it's kind of a droid libation. And that made me think of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. I'm sure everyone's had to read that in, middle school, junior high, high school, back in the day. And you can't hear the word Nepenthe and not think of Edgar Allan Poe's poem there. So my mind immediately went there. And of course, we get that bit where they find out who was responsible for the nano droids. And I love when we find out that Commissioner Hellgate, that's a really cool name, he is a former separatist. And when Christopher Lloyd starts ranting about how Dooku was a visionary, I got chills. It was really cool hearing the name Count Dooku coming out of Christopher Lloyd's mouth. I don't know. The prequel fan in me was like, am I dreaming this right now? And I like how he was taken down with the electroshock dart. That's an interesting new weapon there that we got to see in this episode. I hope we do get to see Hellgate again. I don't know if we will, but it was awesome to have Christopher Lloyd in Star Wars. I first came across Christopher Lloyd when I was like 5 or 6 and watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit on VHS for the first time. He played Judge Doom, and he played the Page Master in that movie, did the voice of the Page Master. Maybe it was live action as well as animation. I can't remember if it was all animated or not. It's been years since I've seen that. He's one of my favorite actors, so I love seeing him in Star Wars. And we get the problem solved. We have the Duchess and we have Bombardier. They're going to attempt to do their best to recognize the independence of the Mandalorians with the Republic there. And so that they knight Grogu, which is awesome. Grogu's a knight at such a tender age there. He really didn't do much in this episode, but I like that he got to be a kid here. He was playing pillbug ball or whatever the heck he was doing. And then we get that scene at the end of the episode where we finally see Bo-Katan, and she is going to have to challenge Axe Woes. And she's tired of all the infighting. She's tired of Mando against Mando, but she does decide to take on this guy and take her fleet back. I like that they were utilizing their jetpacks. It made me think of Boba Fett, playing as Boba Fett in the old Masters of Terrascasi video game. It's a fighting game on PS1. He utilized his jetpack for several different attacks, maybe more like 2. He could jump kick you utilizing his jetpack, and he also did kind of a Psycho Crusher move. If you heard of Bison from Street Fighter, it kind of looked like that, where he would kind of do this flying headbutt utilizing his jetpack. And so I couldn't help thinking of Masters of Terrascasi as Axe Woves and Bo-Katan were fighting, just using their jetpacks, their fiber cord launchers. I would love to get an accessory pack because, at the moment, Bo and Axe in the Vintage Collection, they don't have fiber cord launchers or flamethrowers or vibroblades. They just have blasters. And sorry to go into an I wish Hasbro would make that. But yes, Mandalorian accessory packs or weapons packs would be cool. So we could have additional weapons to go with our Mandos and kind of trip out their armor a little bit more. Arm them with more than just Wester 35s. So we have Din stepping in, and he gives Bo the Darksaber. He convinces them to give it to her on a technicality here. He lets them know that, okay, when I was on Mandalore, I was defeated by an enemy. They took the Darksaber from me. Bo took down Cyborg Guy. She got the Darksaber, so wouldn't it belong to her? And now we have a Kryze who looks as if she's going to be ruling Mandalore. And this isn't the first time we've seen a Kryze ruling Mandalore. I kind of like how things have come back full circle, because when we visited Mandalore in the Clone Wars, George's idea of Mandalore, it was ruled by Satine Kryze. So now we have her sister ruling over Mandalore. It looks as if she's going to be ruling over Mandalore. Who knows what's going to happen in the future, though. I never really thought that Din would be Mandalore. It kind of flitted in and out of my mind. I actually thought Boba Fett was going to rule over Mandalore there at first. We had that happen in the expanded universe back in the day. But I like the idea of a Kryze ruling Mandalore. It might happen with Din at some point if Bo-Katan were to ever meet an untimely demise. And I like how she resolves the situation. She's sick of the bloodshed. I think she knows that Gideon wants to pit Mandalorian against Mandalorian. And it seems as if Gideon is perhaps wanting to pit the Mandos against the New Republic as well. So she's trying to avoid as much infighting as she can. She is wanting them to come together as one powerful force to retake Mandalore, and so they can withstand the machinations of Moff Gideon. I say that I never really saw Din becoming the ruler of Mandalore because, well, as the episode says, I've always seen him as a gun for hire. Never has he once expressed any interest in ruling Mandalore. I guess if he did rule Mandalore, we'd have a pretty short show. It would probably end abruptly because when you rule a planet, you gotta stick close to home quite a bit. I mean, I guess that could happen, and I would actually really enjoy seeing him eventually ruling it. But I mean, I never really considered the fact that he would. There were several options that I was weighing throughout the first season, the second season, as to who it might be. I'm fine without Din ruling Mandalore. He seems like he's more of the type to want to get his hands dirty. He's wanting to teach his kid how to be a Mandalorian as well. I think he's comfortable being a gun for hire, as the title stated. So I'm not really all that torn up about it. I don't think Bo is stealing Din's thunder. It makes sense that Mandalore is looking as if it's going to be back in charge of the Kryze family, because that's how we saw Mandalore during the Clone Wars. So it's kind of like things have come full circle there. I did enjoy the episode. I was expecting to see some Imperial action. I didn't get that, but I did really like the former separatist there showing up. Hopefully we're not done with him. I love the fight scene at the end of the episode. Whenever you make prequel connections in animation or live action when it comes to original trilogy timeline, I'm all over that. So I really enjoyed those aspects of the episode. And I was pretty surprised when Nicole Zanzarella, narrator of the descriptive audio narration track, when she mentioned that Jack Black and Lizzo showed up. Like I said, that happened during the credits. So I wasn't distracted by the cameos. I found out after the fact, so I was able to enjoy the story a bit more. Anywho, I am done with this episode review. I'm going to go watch the latest episode of The Mandalorian, because it is the day the episode has come out, the penultimate episode of season 3, and I haven't watched it yet. So enough of this. I'm going to go watch it. May the Force be with you, and I'll hear you guys next time.